Micheal Oku to face Will Ospreay for the undisputed British heavyweight champion at Rev Pro High Stakes 2022. Skye Smitson will challenge for the WXW Germany's Women's Championship at their 21st anniversary. Danny Black is set to defend the FNW Championship against Francesco Akira at Rise of the Kingdom. Big Damo has entered ICW Square Go Tournament. Gabriel Kidd has graduated from the NJPW Dojo system. Aldis and Doug Williams reunite as British Invasion. Moustache Mountain have won the NXT UK Championships as Tyler Bate becomes the first ever NXT UK Grand Slam champion. Hello, everybody, and welcome to TNT's A Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling. I am your host, the Great British Tappy, Mr. Andrew Moore, and the two most. And I'm joined by my co-host, as always. He is the Pro Wrestling T-shirt champion of the world, Big Daddy Dan, representing Progress Wrestling there.
Yes, indeed. How are we doing today, Mr. Moore? I am doing okay, but I'm not going to lie. As we have discussed many times on this podcast, I do my job this year as a representative of Mr. Claus, and I have been out for 6 times this weekend. And I've DJ'd 3 times this weekend, and I am absolutely wrecked.
But have you given Santa the list of naughty and nice children this year?
I have given him a list of kind children this year because I'm not going to force people to be nice.
No, of course not.
I'll tell you what, though, I have had some absolutely wonderful kids come along, and it has been really special. I have really enjoyed it.
That's excellent. As you heard, lots of British wrestling news to get through this week, and that's even before we do our reviews of NXT UK and others, plus further roundup, and of course everything that is happening next week, because there's a lot.
Which is surprising, bearing in mind we're this close to Christmas.
Yeah, let's start with actually the Grand Champion. He is the first ever Grand Slam NXT UK champion, or whatever you want to call it. Tyler Bate, he has done it all.
He has reached the pinnacle of NXT UK, and rightly so. He's built the brand up. He is just an absolutely phenomenal wrestler. In this match, it reminded you how good a wrestler Tyler
Bate is absolutely fantastic, because we just lose you there. Now you're back. But yeah, as you say, Tyler Bate has been phenomenal each and every time he typically gets in the ring. Great matches all the way. His A-Kid match, of course, was fantastic. His matches against Pete Dunne, of course, which made that championship mean something till Walter came along and made it mean more. But yeah, I think Tyler Bate deserves this. I think Trent Seven deserves to be a tag team champion. I think we can now possibly send Tyler Bate on his way to NXT. Be interesting to see how he gets on, because although he's a big, strong boy, he's not actually that big.
No, he's not. And will he go to NXT UK and US, bearing in mind that they only want sports stars under the age, he's under the age of 30 with ease, but they only want sports stars now.
Yeah, I mean, he's still only 23, maybe 24?
Yeah.
He was like 19 when he won that NXT UK championship. Phenomenal to think that. But yeah, I think you have to maybe go through NXT before. Maybe get him up there with Pete Dunne.
Get them going for the NXT 2.0 championship. I think it could give them legitimacy to this 2.0, bringing in someone like Tyler Bate.
Did you see War Games?
I have seen the War Games cage match.
I was going to ask you if you saw the tag team match with Eichner and Bartel. They were incredible. And it would be great to see Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate possibly form some sort of British strong style tag team unit. Sorry to say this, Trent, but it's probably best to get left behind in the UK unless he wants to take on some sort of coaching, managing role. But I think he's a great mentor for the NXT UK guys. I think it would be a huge mistake to have Trent almost leave NXT UK?
Put Trent with Mastiff, or even better, put him with Dan Maloney and let him be Dan Maloney's sort of like master.
You know, one thing I did start to think about the other day was with this whole Joseph Connors thing. He turned up at North Wrestling actually this week and apparently tacked the main event following. But who else's contracts may be up or coming up, and who may benefit, or who possibly could say, look, maybe NXT UK is not for me. I could be main eventing shows up and down the UK right now.
Carter, Huxley, Mastiff.
Yeah, I agree with you with Mastiff. I'd like to see Mastiff back on the thing. Be an interesting one. Anyway, but let's say we'll look into that next week. We'll see. We'll make a list of and we'll give reasons why we think certain people may be best that they leave NXT, and maybe we'll look at some of the guys that maybe should enter NXT UK at the same time. So yeah, we'll work it out behind the scenes. Anyway, RevPro UK's Micheal Oku is set to face off against the RevPro UK undisputed British heavyweight champion Will Ospreay. What do you make of this?
I make of this that I'm fairly sure this has happened before recently. And I make of this that while I think Micheal Oku actually could be a fantastic British heavyweight champion, he is so over with the fans. Every Rev Pro show you go to, he gets the biggest pop. No matter who's in the main event, Micheal Oku gets the biggest pop.
Yeah, he's very, very over with the fans. I just was a little worried that it may be too much too soon. So I certainly wouldn't put the heavyweight title on him. I think he's representing the cruiserweight division very well.
Did he transition for Ricky Knight Jr.?
If I was going to put the belt on anyone, for me, it would be Ricky Knight Jr. But we know, as you say, the Rev Pro UK crowd, they love Micheal Oku. Andy Quilden obviously loves Micheal Oku. The Rev Pro UK management team, they love Micheal Oku. So, but I just don't know I think he'll step up and have a great main event.
Oku.
I like Micheal Oku. I'm not a huge fan of Micheal Oku. I'm a fan of Oku, but I sometimes get a bit lost of people who are treated almost in the John Cena role. I find myself always gravitating towards thinking, I just don't get it.
Well, he can do different things. He's great as the OJMO, which when he does wrestle he wrestles as a different character. So yeah, I can understand where you're coming from, but I like Micheal Oku and I'd be very happy to see him as the British heavyweight champion.
It's very interesting to see him heal it up on Purpose Wrestling. It's very different to see him in that type of role. I'm sure it's going to be a phenomenal match. They had a phenomenal match recently. I think Will Ospreay retains, but it is high stakes 2022 at York Hall and Bethnal Green, and that is on the 29th of January. Staying on Will Ospreay, at Reloaded Wrestling recently, Paul Robinson made his return at Reloaded Championship Wrestling Association in Raynham. He faced Callum Newman. After the main event, Will Ospreay turned up on the big screen. And so at their next show, it will be Will Ospreay against his former tag team partner, the guy that at one point would have been considered his mentor, Paul Robinson. So that looks to be a very interesting matchup. And that's taking place on the 21st of January. So as we say, he is in America right now. He's wrestling on Warrior Wrestling tonight, and then he will most likely be off to Japan. We will discuss this off camera because he'll be readying himself for his Wrestle Kingdom match against Kazuchika Okada or Shingo Takagi. I think Okada, and then I assume just fly back over to the UK, quarantine, and then as reloaded and Rev Pro UK the next time round.
If you're sort of like looking for something to do on the 27th, Mr. Ospreay, I'll be very happy to see you at FNW as well.
Yeah, very, very much so. And we've got Skye Smitson. She's off to WXW Germany. We spoke about it last week. We said it'd be nice if she did challenge for the WXW's Women's Championship. We have our wish.
We do indeed. Aren't we lucky? Indeed.
So Skye Smitson will be taking on Iva Koloski on the 21st anniversary on the 18th of December next week. The whole card looks absolutely stacked.
It really does.
This should be a good match for Skye Smitson, either or even Iva. Sorry, this will be a good match for her to work with somebody of Skye's ability. And Iva's very athletic. So you'll see a few fancy moves and a very, very nice moonsault. But Skye Smitson likes to dominate. She is the prize fighter, the villainess. And we, of course, wish her all the best in her match. And we will be reporting on it. I will be picking up WXW now, at least for the week, so we can watch this anniversary event, because full card, Jörn Simmons versus Axel Tiska. That is for the Unified Germany Championship. You've got the Arrows of Hungary versus Fast Time Modo and Stephanie Mays. They literally had a match this on WXW Now. We Love Wrestling. It's on the WWE network. Good match. Cara Noir versus Walter, of course, the marquee match, which we assume will be Walter's what's the word?
European Swan Song.
European Swan Song. Robert Dreisker versus Vincent Heisenberg. If you don't know about Vincent Heisenberg, he is huge. This is a giants match. These guys are... Yeah, it's going to be a super, super heavyweight matchup. Dreisker versus Heisenberg. You know, this is almost Braun Strowman versus Big Show type levels of super heavyweights in the ring. As we just mentioned, Skye Smitson versus Iva Kolotsky. Michael Knight with the Shotgun Championship. Now, the Shotgun Championship it's a mystery opponent every time, so they have a lottery just before, and whoever wins the lottery gets to challenge for the title. So it's kind of like...
Is it bad that I've only just noticed Michael Knight's name in Germany?
Yeah, how did you not pick it? I mean, the first time I saw it, I'm like, Michael Knight, seriously? For anyone that's maybe not from the UK or America, they love Hasselhoff in Germany. Not for Baywatch, but for his rock music, and for Night Rider and Baywatch, but still, yeah, Michael Knight, the German highlight, the Shotgun Champion, so Lottery will pick his opponent just before thing. And then there's the 6-man ladder match, Dennis Cash, Doolin, Tristan Archer, Aguila Blanc, Levanio, The Rotation, and Hector Invictus. Should be a good match.
It should indeed. Fight Nation Wrestling have announced that at Rise of the Kingdom, Francesco Akira will be taking on Danny Black for the FNW Championship. They have also announced that Eric Young will be taking on Michael Kirby.
Martin Kirby.
Martin Kirby.
You got Michael on the brain now. Michael Knight, Micheal Oku, but it's Martin Kirby. Yeah, that's going to be a great match, as you say. But we actually talked about it last week, because Francesco Akira, of course, was announced for Rise of Kingdom last week. We said, wouldn't it be a great match between him and Danny Black for the championship? So again, we literally have our wish. I mean, I think people are just listening to us and booking their cards, honestly.
Yeah,
definitely. Listening to a couple of marks on a podcast.
Let me just stroke my beard a little bit.
I love that. Listen to a couple of marks on a podcast. There we go. But yeah, that's going to be a phenomenal match. And you're going to be there, of course.
I will indeed. I have got my season ticket. I will be sat down at the front and I cannot wait.
Because we had Corey McRae on talking about it, and we thought, he would be a phenomenal opponent for Axel Tiska at the show. So that'd be an interesting one. But
seeing as everyone's taking our booking ideas, why not?
Why not? Yeah. Corey McRae versus Axel Tiska. Be a great match. Either that or as Damon Moser, because you say he's hugely over, and that would be a fantastic matchup for him.
I would indeed. ICW, Big Damo has entered the Square Go Tournament at the 10th annual Square Go on the 20th of February.
Where did you see the W? ICW. Where did I'm asking where you saw it?
Can't see.
We are literally that bad on humour this week.
Can you tell that one of us is suffering with a back injury and the other one is suffering with a lack of sleep?
Good medication.
Yeah.
Big Damo, ICW Square Go, you just mentioned it. That's going to be... It's great having Big Damo. He's such a big name for us on the UK scene right now. Joseph Connors. If we can get a few more back, that scene's going to be really, really strong come 2022. It's
going to be unstoppable. It really is.
And of course, the Square Go tournament, it's the 10th annual one, apparently, and it's on the 20th of February next year.
Well, hopefully on the network.
Hopefully on the network. There is a young man, a young British lad, a young bull of a lad that has graduated from the New Japan Dojo. So that actually makes him the first British person to ever graduate from the NJPW Dojos.
Does it indeed?
It does.
Wow.
Neither, Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay, neither of them actually went through the Young Lions system.
No, I guess. No, and the other ones would be too old. So yeah, blimey. So, congratulations go to
Gabriel Kidd, who actually had a phenomenal match this weekend. It's on NJPW Strong on Fight TV as well. Gabriel Kidd versus Jonathan Gresham. Very technical, starts out, gets a little rough in the middle. Really, really good match though, and great to see Gabriel Kidd. I don't know did you ever catch that in the promo he did?
No, I did not.
And just phenomenal. But Kidd is going to kill it. I hope he comes back to the UK. Maybe he is actually technically officially on excursion now, so he is no longer wearing just the black trunks. So he has his own trunks back. Obviously, once they graduate, they get to wear what they want, really. And good luck to Gabriel Kidd. Hopefully, it'll be a beacon for more British guys to go through the dojo system. I'd love to have an NJPW UK dojo. I'd love them to set something up.
I can understand that. I'll tell you what, we have got the talent to fill one.
Oh, yeah, just look. I assume that the only reason they've probably never done it is because of RevPro UK.
I presume the reason they haven't done it is they haven't got the right trainers to come over to the UK for that period of time.
No, I will do eventually. Well, as you say, Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr. Can you imagine a dojo of Zack Sabre Jr. graduates? I
can smile at the thought.
I haven't written it down, but as I say, also on the NJPW Strong, Will Ospreay competed in a 6-man tag alongside Jeff Cobb and TJP as the United Empire. They took on LA Dojo graduates Clark Connors, Carl Fredericks, and Ren Narita picking up the win. It was a good match. But the other big news coming out of the States, obviously, is on NWA Power. Doug Williams reuniting with Nick Aldis as the British Invasion. Just puts a smile to your face, really, doesn't it?
Literally, yeah. I really enjoyed their work in TNA, and I'm really glad to see them back together.
Yeah, I thought they were phenomenal in TNA because that was prime TNA as well. Maybe just a little bit transition on downslope, but obviously they were NJPW IWGP champions as well at one point because and they are reuniting to hopefully take home the NWA belts.
Fingers crossed for them. Doug Williams definitely is more than capable and more than deserves that.
Yeah, I said I would like to have had Doug go for some sort of an actual run at the £10 belt, but to be honest, if he can get a tag team championship run alongside Aldis, I think that would be a great little swan song so good luck to Doug, good luck to Nick Aldis, and go kick our ass for us over there. Before we move on to some reviewing, do you want to tell us about what's on Powered 4 TV this week?
Coming this week to Powered 4 TV, we get the continuation of the Catch Pro Enigma series. I believe we've got nearly 6 of them coming through. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, because I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but last time they released them in different blocks. So whether they do that again or whether they literally put the whole lot on there, because there's been a lot of catch wrestling. So be some fantastic. It's catch free as well to catch up on. So lots of catch.
There is indeed. There's a new American series come on, XWW, with their weekly casino night shows. I actually watched a couple of these. It's good to see indie wrestling in America. And obviously I'm biased. I'm going to say British indie wrestling is better. But it is different. And it is good to see the difference. On XWW, one of their main guys is Fodder, who appeared at Ring of Honor this week in the final show. He was on the same team as Braun Strowman and the other champion. Thank you.
Yeah, I
very good.
About that.
Yeah, Fodder was the other guy there, but he's on the XWW shows. Also, we can expect to see more FNW and IPW shows, and they have got some amazing talent on them. Pretty much who's who of British wrestling, past and present. So we look forward to seeing those, and you can watch those on Powered 4 TV for free for 30 days if you log in using the code TEAPOD, TEAPOD. And after that, it's only $7.99 a month for an unlimited amount of British wrestling. The Netflix of wrestling is Powered 4 TV.
Indeed. And as you just mentioned, we now have they've got American programming, and hopefully we'll start to see more independent wrestling from around the world, because we like to keep an eye on everything. It's always good to know who's about and what's happening. We do keep an eye out on a lot of European wrestling. One thing I did watch on Powered 4 TV this week was Ignite Wrestling show, Ignite Pro Wrestling. So they had their debut show, which is available. It's actually available for free. So you just have to sign up, no payment need. You don't even have to put our code in. It's just 100% free to watch. And it kicks off with Corey McRae versus Joe Lando. And we talked to Corey McRae, of course, about this match very recently on our latest special. I know we're throwing specials at you left, right, and center right now. It's fantastic. So much great talent out there that we want to speak to. And we've got more to come in the future. But this was a phenomenal match. Corey McRae is somebody, I love his legit outlook. Obviously, he has a background in jiu-jitsu and kickboxing, as we found out, as we rightly guessed as well, I must add. But yeah, he's phenomenal, and so is Joe Lando, just an incredible athlete. So that was a really good blend of this killer guy versus this high flying. So they meshed really well. Darcy Stone versus Clementine, very good match. Tommy Kyle, you've mentioned him before. This is my first time to actually really get to see Tommy Kyle. And yes, you are right. Very, very impressive young man. He will go far in the future. CJ Carter, normally a bit of a dastardly guy, but here he was a hometown hero, and he got a hometown hero's reception, as did Nino Bryant when he faced off against Taylor James. I'd say both of these matches really, really good. Truman Roswell versus Tim Lee added something completely different because it gave a little bit of the comedy flair. I do like Truman Roswell's character. I can get into that. And in the main event, Warren Banks, Dexter, and Gene Money. This is a really, really good match. As you can imagine, Warren Banks, Gene Money, they know each other so well. They've been battling all over the country and on Progress Wrestling. The added threat of Dexter was good. Again, this is my first opportunity to really get to see Dexter. And again, somebody who's going to do very well for himself, got a good look, got a great reception as a heel, really heeled out. And overall, I would definitely go check this match out on Power 4 TV for free. And it's, 3.5 sugars, easy.
Yeah, I've only seen 2 of the matches so far. I watched the Joe Lando versus Corey McRae, and I watched the CJ Carter, Tim Lee. And just from those, I would definitely agree with you, and I will get around to watching the rest of the show.
Excellent. Why don't you tell me about NXT UK?
Oh, that's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah,
I better get my notes.
It's
up,
the most popular. Well, sort of. I guess it is.
I would agree. We started up with a roundup about the Tag Team Championships with history from Moustache Mountain and from Pretty Deadly. We then went into Blair Davenport versus Amelia McKenzie. I was surprised how much Amelia McKenzie got in this match. I thought it was going to be another squash for Davenport. And Amelia McKenzie managed to show a lot of what she could do. And her performances really are improving.
I thought she got to do a lot, but I did still feel like she got squashed. So
Davenport was the right winner with this.
I felt, as I say, I felt that it was a bit more of a squash than the way you saw it. But it's strange the way people can see wrestling. Completely. But as I say, I thought Davenport, again, as you say, she's just phenomenal. And McKenzie, really, really phenomenal young woman, and she will be a future NXT UK champion, as will Blair Davenport. Do you think Blair Davenport will defeat Mako?
I think she's the most serious contender to Mako at the moment. I'm not sure if she will be the one that defeats her, but she is the only one that I see as a serious contender to Mako at the moment. Davenport won this with a huge knee strike and a gorgeous Falcon Arrow. And afterwards, she locked in Satomura's STF and called out Satomura to say that she is the Ichiban Gaijin.
Yeah, she literally called her out in Japanese, which I thought was fantastic.
And I realised that thanks to wrestling, I understood 2 Japanese words. I was impressed with myself. Moustache Mountain were then shown backstage warming up. Shah and Dar then went to see Sid Scala. And it was announced that A-Kid will take on Nathan Fraser in a number 1
I'm losing him.
Next week.
Yeah, that looks phenomenal. A-Kid, Nathan Fraser. We saw parts of it. They had the triple threat a little while back against Rampage as well. So A-Kid, Nathan Fraser. That's going to be a match. I can't wait to watch that one next week. I'm looking forward to NXT UK for that.
Dragunov and Rampages were round up of the disastrous ending to their match.
Yeah, so they didn't really confirm or deny anything, but they're certainly making a story of it anyway.
They are saying that Rampage was injured and is now refusing to take calls from management. So I can see an angry Rampage coming through the crowd and battering Dragunov at his next defense.
Look forward to that.
Yes, so do I, bearing in mind who it'll be against. Zaya Brookside then whinges that... Sorry, Bratty Brookside whinges that everything's not fair.
Yeah,
she didn't get enough time to get ready and she went off in a huff.
These millennials always...
I'm an old man.
I'm an old man. But as I say, I'm actually interested in Bratty Brookside. And did you notice Lizzie Evo in the background?
I did see Lizzie Evo in the background. Jordan Devlin then called out Ilya Dragunov. I didn't watch it.
No. Jordan Devlin called out Ilya Dragunov. So it's going to be Devlin Dragunov next.
It's going to be a very good match. I know that for a fact. I just think Devlin's a prick.
Yeah, me too.
Amel then did a promo which has turned her baby face, which in the course of one promo, wow.
I really loved this. I loved every minute. I loved the emotion. I loved the passion. I just completely made me fall in love with Amel and just go, I want to support her.
Do you remember about a month ago I said that for me, the one woman on the roster that I think should be on the main roster is Amel?
Amel's a very, very talented woman, former WXW Germany women, the last WXW. She vacated the belt, obviously, to go to NXT UK. But yeah, she's phenomenal, and she's been phenomenal since being on the NXT UK roster. So she's had some great matches. And again, somebody, for me, it should probably go Mako, Davenport, Amel.
I don't think Amel will get it. I think it should be called up first. We then had Kenny Williams do a promo calling out Mark Andrews. It was a good promo.
Yeah. I just don't really care about either of them, unfortunately.
No, I'm not really caring about Mark Andrews at the moment, even though I think he had an absolutely standout match, possibly the best match I'd seen on NXT recently. But
two of them, in fact, because he had that fantastic match with Noam Dar. He had that incredible match, as you were just with Nathan Fraser, I'm assuming you're thinking of.
That's the one.
And I don't like the subculture gimmick. I think they just need to take him away, split all three of them up, have them go their separate ways, which I guess what they're going to get to do now because the other two are injured.
Yeah.
And Flash is constantly injured.
Kenny Williams at least called them subs as well.
Yeah.
Sam Gradwell then took on Shah Samuels in a great heavyweight match. I loved it when Gradwell grabbed the ear.
Yeah.
That was so old school.
Oh, no. It was the scarf to the bollocks.
Oh, it was
good old flick of the scarf to the nads.
I do want that. I do want to go over that. But he also did a flying elbow from the turnbuckle to the floor where Shah Samuel was. I don't know if you remember that. He did a running flying elbow. It looked like he flew. He was in the air for an extended period of time. I don't know if they slowed it down or what, but it was great. Then, yes, he faced being strangled with the scarf himself, and then did the classic schoolboy towel whip with the scarf straight to Shah Samuel's gentleman's area, and got the 1, 2, 3. And I'm not surprised, because if I'd been whipped there, I would have gone down quite hard as well.
Yeah. It was a good match, and as you said, I very much enjoyed the choke part because I thought that was very clever, very Guerrero, if you like. But there's potential in Gradwell. Just don't know where.
We then had another bloody awful crime video.
Oh God, no! Yes, I guess the second to worst ever NXT UK segment, because the first worst ever NXT UK segment was them in the car. But
should we nick the Mercedes, the Beamer, or the Land Rover?
Yeah, I mean, at least. I guess they're not, but I don't know. I don't like this. This is terrible. I don't like Gallas. I don't like Joe Coffey. We're being mean this week. No, we are. I'm not being that. I like Wolfgang to a degree, and I like Mark Coffey.
Well, they're going to take out Charlie Dempsey.
No, they're not. Go on, Dempsey.
No, they're really not. Dempsey could take all.
Take him out. Take him out.
We then had a video package for A-Kid and Nathan Fraser. And then we went on to the main event, Moustache Mountain versus Pretty Dead. How good is Tyler Bate?
Right. I know we say it a lot, right? How bad Pretty Deadly's outfits usually are. But this one, what the...
Bananas in pajamas are coming up the stairs.
That's exactly what my missus said.
You know what? It's heat. We're talking about it. It's great.
It's, the lacy doily hyper green.
Do you remember Edge and Christian putting on ridiculous outfits, ridiculous sunglasses, ridiculous over-the-top Furby jackets, just anything to get...
But it wasn't that bad.
Well,
I love,
I
love the Deadly Boys. You know I do. Lewis Howley and Sammy Smooth. I love these guys, but Jesus.
That's why they're doing it, and it's working.
Down. Oh. But yes, the match itself, Pretty Deadly are just an incredible tag team.
You know what? As far as the tag team aspect goes, they look the better tag team during the match.
Yeah.
They were controlling the ring better. They were tagging better.
Getting a bit of a scratch again.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm not sure what. Yeah.
Yeah, they were tagging better. They were controlling the ring better. I just thought they were the better tag team, which is insane because they were against Moustache Mountain.
Yeah, but which just goes to show you how good of a team they actually are. First coming together on IPW. In fact, our recent guest, Tate Mayfair's, told us all about it, and old Sammy Smooth and Lewis Howley, and how they didn't really want to be a tag team at first, but then they got, and it suddenly clicked, and they are just, grizzled young veteran level of how good they are as a tag team. So smooth, so effortless. The way they help each other during parts, the way they bend the rules, just.
There was a really nasty looking bump in this, though. Where Trent Seven got pulled down from the top rope and landed very heavily on his head and shoulders. That looked nasty.
Yeah. So how long do you think this run's going to last?
I honestly don't know.
I think it should it be a long run? Should it be a short run?
I genuinely have no
Should it be
idea
a mid-length run? The problem is we mentioned it last time. The NXT UK tag team division right now is abysmal. They could really do with some new tag teams and to get rid of some of the ones that they do have. But the Smoking Aces and Kings of the North are the two that jump straight to my mind that really should be on the NXT UK roster right now, bolstering that tag team division. I would like to see Oliver Carter and Ashton Smith do more, but I don't get why they don't give them more, and why they almost at one point wanted to push Mastiff and Star over them. Just doesn't.
Yeah.
But the tag team is the division itself is not great.
No.
I've lost him.
That's why I genuinely don't know whether. Oh, bloody hell!
This
is why I don't know if it's going to be a short run or a long run.
It should be an interesting run, regardless. ICW, we're going to wait till next week because we're going to watch both parts of Fear and Loathing as it was supposed to be watched in 2 sessions. So that's what we're doing. So that's what we'll be getting back to you next week on that. There is WXW on the WWE Network. It was a very good WXW. Axel Tisca and Tiani opened the show. Very good match. Longer match than I expected. They went a good 18 minutes or so. Particularly, the main event was very good. Stephanie Mays and Fast Time Mudo against the Arrows of Hungary. Maga and Elmaric, that just turned into a complete disaster with Vincent Heisenberg and Axel Tisca getting involved. Robert Dreisker getting involved. Norman Harris versus Gullius Jr. would definitely be the match of the show for me, which is the second match after Tisca and Tiani as they open the show. But very, very good WXW show. Well worth checking out. And it seems I've lost Dan completely, so I'm just going to try and carry on as we do. It is next week. There is so much wrestling all around the UK. So Friday the 17th, Pro Wrestling Ambush in Ely, Cambridgeshire for Christmas Classic. Rhea O'Reilly and Evie Madden versus Laura Di Matteo and Ronnie Knox. TK Cooper versus Kyle Ashmore. Spike Trevay versus Warren Banks. Damon Moser versus Chuck Mambo. And Danny Black versus Mike Bird. That is a fantastic card. Pro Wrestling Ambush in Ely, Cambridgeshire. Pro Wrestling Scotland are in Newmains, Lanarkshire. Lizzie Evo versus Angel Hayes. Krieger versus TBC. Ray Barini versus Logan Smith in one half of the semi-final championship tournament. The other half is Daz Black versus Levi. Dean Ford will also be in action. Paramount Pro Wrestling are in Bootle, Merseyside for Fight Mad Before Christmas. Isaac North versus Ben Reed. Liam Carr versus Cyrus Blackwell. Aaron Martin. Pitbull versus and Joey Rush versus The Unforgiven, Jackson Abbott and Erebus. So let me go through that again. So PPW are in Bootle, Merseyside for Fight Mad Before Christmas. Isaac North versus Ben Reed. Liam Carr versus Cyrus Blackwell versus Aaron Martin. Pitbull versus Joey Rush versus The Unforgiven, Jackson Abbott and Erebus. Charlie Brennan versus PL Dotson, the Savage Gentleman. Buster Ellis versus Vinny St. James. Daniel's back with us. PCW's Festive Fury is in Preston with very strong cards. Sheik El Sham versus Jack Morris. That's the match I want to see. Roy Johnson versus Shane Saber. Cody Lane versus Priscilla. Yeston Reese and Will Cruz versus the models Joey Hayes and Danny Hope. As well as the Hooligans versus the Von Engelands.
Right, shall we see if I can actually stay online for a bit?
Go for it. Do you want to tell us about Saturday?
I shall give us a go on Saturday. Evolution Wrestling are in Bristol with Brendan White versus Nick Riley and Bino versus Dale Johnson and many more. Source Wrestling, Grant McIver versus Darren J. Blair. ADM versus Stone Malone, Luke Matthews versus Robert Wishart, and more are going to be available.
So DOA Jingle Brawls is going to be in Great Yarmouth. Blue Cane versus Truman Roswell. Ali OK versus Peter Nixon versus No Remorse. Damien versus Alexander Hyde. The Rebellion, Taylor James and Jack Toreno versus Beach City Blondes. Sam Santori and Jaden Dokwa. Darko and Big Joe versus the Hollywood Heartbreakers, Brad Tannen and Hugo Bloom.
Title Championship Wrestling have two shows, Krampus at 2 p.m. and Silent Nightmares at 7, and Silent Nightmares at 7 at 5 p.m. in the Leeds Museum. I know you've been really excited to go to one of these shows, haven't you?
I really do want to go to a Leeds Museum show. They must be so interesting.
They really must. So we're going to start off with Joe Wade versus Tom Felwell. Nasurko versus Ace Matthews. Rio versus Natalie Skies versus Ivy. Violence Party versus Synergy. That's going to be a big hard-hitting match. Sheik El Sham versus Seb Strife. And the Henchmen, Jim Diehard and Benton Destruction versus Reese and Rogan. At Silent Nightmare 7 at 5 p.m, Nasurko versus Rufio. Dara Diablo versus Ace Matthews and HT Drake versus Brady Phillips have been announced so far.
Indeed. And that Henchman versus Reese and Rogan, that's going to be a heavyweight battle. WAW Carols and Carnage 2021 in Norwich. Nathan Cruz versus Marco Marinelli. Soraya Knight versus Brad O'Brien. Brad Slayer versus Sean Custom. PJ Knight versus Dan Maloney. Battle Cats versus Old School. The Hooligans and RKJ versus the East Anglian Killers and Brett Semtex. Tony Knight versus Winston.
Sunday the 19th, WAW again. Steve Quintain versus Roy Knight and Zach Knight versus Dan Maloney. That's going to be a great match, and there are more to come.
Indeed. Wrestle Island's red light, green light show is in Birkenhead in Merseyside. Dan Evans versus Warren Banks versus Cameron Solas. Scott Oberman versus Joey Hayes. The Violent Gentleman Society versus Charlie Brennan. Connor Klein and Jay Reed. Jade, Hustle Malone, Carlos Zamora, and Sean Only in the Squid Game Survivor Scramble. That's the one where they can only use one finisher once. So if somebody is pinned and eliminated, you are no longer able to pin anybody. You would have to make somebody submit or knock them out. Lance Rivera versus Drill versus Big T versus Ethan Kelly versus Lucy Skye versus Brian Aidenson in the red light, green light scramble. One full finish, but during intervals, there will be a red light and green light. When the red light, everyone must stay perfectly still. And if anyone does move, they will be eliminated from the match. The Von Engelands and Harley Hudson versus the East Mid Breakers and Lucia Lee. RP Davies versus Pitbull. Terry Izzet versus Joe Kessler. Packed card.
Very much so. And talking of packed cards, OTT are in Belfast for the Kings of Belfast. Mark Haskins will take on Francesco Akira. Emerson Jane versus Raven Creed. Charlie Stoling versus Shota Umino. That match is going to be fantastic. Adam Maxted versus Robbie X. Ooh. Big Damo versus Tucker. And LJ Cleary versus Sammy D.
Yeah, fantastic lineup. Ultimate British Wrestling, UBW Spectrum SmackDown is in Littleport Leisure Centre. Philip Bedvale versus Ricky Calvert. BDSM versus the Heavyweight Heartbreakers. Smashing Mike versus Memes. Spike Valentine versus Truman Roswell versus CJ Carter.
Yep, that looks like it's going to be a great show to go to. And of course, a charity show as well, working with Spectrum. So great work, UBW. Right, should we move on to a few other things that are going on around the UK?
Yeah, because there's plenty of more British wrestling news around the UK, such as Triumph Pro Wrestling have announced that Callum Newman, Warren Banks, and Ashley Dunn will be part of the roster for the 12th of February show.
TNT Extreme, Scotty Rourke has said he wants to face Robbie X, and he'll put his Ultra X Championship on the line following his win at Cold Day in Hell, and TNT Extreme have granted this at Merseyside Massacre on the 6th of January. They have also announced Alexis Falcon versus Chantal Jordan for the Women's Championship, plus at TNT Ignition's Ignition Rumble on the 9th of January. They have announced Cameron Solis versus Kid Lycos 2 for the Ignition Championship, RP Davey versus Sonna Durson as well.
Great, what TNT Extreme have been doing in the the Northwest has been fantastic. And of course, you can catch all of their shows on Powered 4 TV. Black Country Championship Wrestling, the BCCW, have announced that their first show in 2022 will be on the 28th of January, and they will crown the first ever king of the division. They unveiled the championship belt at Xmas Gimmicks.
They did. Now we have some exciting news. A new promotion is going to be starting in Stratford upon Avon, PEW, which stands for Phenomenal Elite Wrestling. And they have announced their new card, and it looks like it will be phenomenal, does it not?
Yeah, the roster is absolutely stacked with fantastic names such as Charles Crowley, Dexter, H. Hood, Corey McRae, Jade, Jim Diehard, Riho, James Mason, Laurie, Harley Hudson, Joe Lando, Martin Kirby, Mariah May, and Danny Black, and they are all phenomenal.
They are. They've announced two more while we have been recording. Sheikh El Sham and Lucia Lee have also been announced. Phenomenal Elite Wrestling. We look forward to hearing more and more about your shows. It is going to be very, very special.
It's going to be phenomenal.
It is.
Modern Nomad Pro Wrestling, MNPW, have announced their next show, the local Shindy Wrestling Company, on the 8th of January. Chris Ridgway, Elijah, and Kid Lycos are all local Shindy.
UPW Ultimate Pro Wrestling have announced the brothers Orr, Joey and Scott, friends of the channel, will challenge Serious Foul Play, Dan McGee and Rob Elias for the tag team titles for the last time.
Very interesting stipulation. Wrestle Carnival have announced the third entrant for their Carnival of Champions and their Queen of Carnival tournament, or at Carnival of Champions on the 30th of January. Joshua James and Alex Windsor. Fantastic additions to their tournaments.
I am looking forward to seeing that live. Just, rubbing it in there.
Indeed.
DNA Pro Wrestling have announced it's In Our Blood 3, which will be their biggest show ever on the 19th of February. CJ Carter, the lads, Ben Jones and Alex Echo, Skye Smitson, Heidi Katrina, Clementine and Charles Crowley as BDSM, Adam Maxted and Robbie X. Yes, DNA Pro, that is one hell of a lineup. Yeah, that's tempting.
Very, very much so. And to finish off the show, Zack Sabre Jr. in Tai Chi in the World Tag League 2021 came runners-up on 16 points with Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi winning the tournament, picking up 18 points. So it will be Dangerous Tekkers, Tai Chi and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi at Wrestle Kingdom, either night 1 or night 2. We don't know yet. And that about covers everything British wrestling. Well, most of it anyway.
Right. We're going to finish off now with a Powered 4 TV plug. Please go and watch Powered 4 TV. You can watch the most amazing British wrestling, and you can watch it for a mere $7.99 a month. But you can get your first month for free by using the Tea and Tights podcast code TPOD.
And I tell you what, one thing we did forget to mention is that a brand new British promotion that has signed up with Powered 4 TV, which is No Mercy Wrestling, which are based in Wales. I'm not going to pronounce the town because I can't, but you will see people like Lucille Lee and Martin Kirby. Their first show is on, I've lost it, Friday the 28th of January.
There you go. In that case, I believe that rounds up our week of British wrestling. I think between the two of us, we probably need to go to bed.
Yeah, I think the medication is really, really beginning to kick in at the moment. So I'm going to go enjoy the rest of the evening. And remember, folks, don't feed the trolls.